Happy 2026, everyone. My name is Super Koopa. Welcome to my channel, and in this video, we are wrapping up this podcast series specifically about the small town element of my completely conceptualized game, Animal Crossing Small Town Big City. It's been a great year for Animal Crossing as we've been announced a new update for New Horizons, and it's been a great year for speculating. We did get a confirmation that 2026 new Animal Crossing is not happening. However, we are going to be looking into these predictions all year round, and we finally have completed this section of my mega document that I created this past year. So it's been a great year for predicting and speculating, and it's been a great year for Animal Crossing as a whole. We had quite a few years of just silence, finishing up that whole Pocket Camp complete era, kind of closing out that phone app, and now we're here talking about New Horizons and beyond. So if you will join me in this video, I would absolutely love that. It's going to be a shorter one today, but we are going to be just going rapid fire through this document to kind of close out the series as a whole. All right, join me in this video to ring in the new year together, shall we? So if you guys have not yet subscribed, make sure you do so, as we're going to be making videos all about this series that I've created and about Animal Crossing. So make sure you check out past videos that we've done. A mega document that I've been working on for all this past year. It started at the beginning of the year, maybe even a little before that, but I fully fleshed it all out around the kind of start of this year. And I didn't think that kind of trying to revive this YouTube channel was ever going to happen, but it's something that I tried this year. Hasn't really been the most successful endeavor, but I have been enjoying myself making these videos for you guys and getting into this fun speculation talk. It's just been enjoyable, and I would like to eventually cover the big city portion. But if you're anxious to find out more of my thoughts on what a kind of a big city could look like in Animal Crossing without compromising the typical Animal Crossing experience, then check out the mega document, which I have linked below. We're about to take a look at that right now, so why don't you join me in this document together. All right, what you're looking at is a snippet of the mega document. I kind of took out the most important parts that I wanted to cover and just put it into this slide here. Specifically, so getting started with this topic, I want to talk about the game price. We've been seeing some more pricey games recently, and that makes sense because, we're making this for more, expensive hardware. The system itself is a lot more expensive, so games are being a lot more. However, Mario Kart World was a big point of contention this year because that game was $80, and that was incredibly expensive for a game that somewhat felt incomplete, with not a whole lot going on in the battle department, a lot of straightaways during those transition courses, and there's just a lot of debate whether that should have been $80 or not. But they've set a new standard, and so I believe that the new Animal Crossing will probably follow suit and be just around the $80 price tag. However, because this is a game with two elements to it, and part of that is that these elements will cross, but in order to live out the small town experience, you won't necessarily have to go to the big city for that. You're gonna want to go because that's where you're gonna make all the bells and get a lot of new furniture and be able to interact with villagers that have moved on from your town. But if that's not how you want to play the game and you feel like Animal Crossing would be more authentic without that whole big city expansion, then you can play that and live in denial if you want to in this version of my game. So what I have priced it at, as you can see here in the document, $80 for the game, which includes the small town and big city bundle altogether. Now, if you want to buy the game and just play the small town, which would be your typical Animal Crossing experience, that would be $60. So you're getting a cheaper game, and you can tactically go to the city if you have Nintendo Switch Online expansion as well. It would just cost bells for you to do that, and we'll talk about that, as you might be able to see it just slightly lower. Some spoilers there, but yeah. So, and then if you wanted to buy it later on, it would just be $20. You'd end up having to buy the $80 game in the end, but if you just wanted to start with the small town only, you can do that and then buy the $20 expansion, where you don't have to pay any bells, you don't have to do anything, it'd be a lifetime pass. However, DLC, I would like that to be free into the future, roughly 2 years into the game's life lifespan. Obviously, it's too much to talk about that right now, but I actually did include DLC at the bottom of the document, so if you want a hint of what DLC could look like for this game, I included that and fully fleshed that out as well. Alright, this is how you get to the city. I never explained this in a past video, so I wanted to make this very clear of how you get to the big city, and you access the big city by the bus service, the taxi service from Cap'n, very similar to how you got to the city in City Folk for the Wii. However, this is his little taxi service, almost like an Uber, and in order to do that, there's a couple ways. So if you have the expansion, you need the expansion to play certain online features for Animal Crossing, like the Happy Home Paradise in New Horizons. So in order to do that, you can get that expansion, and you'll only have to pay a certain amount of bells. If you want a one-day pass to go to the city, it's 3,000 bells with the Nintendo Switch Online expansion, and then you can see the list there. Now, if you only have Nintendo Switch Online, you don't have the expansion pack, you didn't pay for it, but you do have online capability and still want to go to the city, you can pay for one day for 30,000 bells. That's pretty expensive. It's, 10 times the amount that you'd be paying if you have the expansion. And if you want to buy certain passes, you can pay, similar to how you can pay for a Nintendo Switch Online for a certain amount, you can pay $2 USD for 1 month, and then it goes on. If you want a year, you buy $10 to get a pass to the city for a whole year. So you could just buy the whole expansion pass for lifetime for $20 if you wanted to, and that's mentioned below as well. So I would say go for the whole $80 pack, get it as it comes, and get it that way. That's just my idea of how they could, package the game. This is another thing that I didn't quite cover, but I wanted to mention. Some changes to tools. I mentioned that there'd be 3 new tools coming for the next game in our past podcast, but I didn't mention how I would change existing tools in the game. So one of the things that I'd like to do is flimsy tools will retain their breakable status. This is how it was in New Horizons, and one of the big complaints that a lot of people have with tools were simply that tools broke too often, and there was no sense of perfect tools that would be unbreakable, and that was really difficult. Even the golden tools, that doesn't make any sense. They never broke in past games, so why did we do that? So what's great about this addition would be that tools would actually appear cracked or damaged, so you know when they would get close to breaking, similar to how the axes worked in past Animal Crossing games. These ones will be available. These are the first ones that you get, so you won't get unbreakable tools, right away. Normal tools will actually now retain that unbreakable status, so they'll be like they were in past Animal Crossing games. But golden tools will have specific purposes in this game, and you're gonna want to go past those unbreakable options to the golden because they have specific roles, and I'm just gonna read those out right now. Golden shovel. Dig up trees or rock without needing stamina, so you can just go up to a tree, dig it up without needing to eat a fruit. That's pretty awesome. Golden fishing rod, catching those giant ocean fishes that I mentioned in the boat dock podcast that I talked about, how we'd like to expand the ocean in this next game. And then you could just go down the list, read all these things. The one that I wanted to talk about specifically was the golden ladder, the vaulting pole, and the shears. The golden ladder actually will allow you to reach restricted areas in your map to slightly expand and explore your town. So areas that weren't available before, if you have a golden ladder, it's not just an accessory of this game, you can actually extend that ladder to get to hidden parts of your town that you couldn't get to previously. The vaulting pole is pretty cool. You can vault across water farther distances. And then the golden shears, we've talked about how the shears is an item in this game. If you want to create a graft, you just walk up to your fruit tree, you hit it, and with the golden shears, you'll get a graft every time, but you will not get a graft unless you eat a fruit while using normal shears. So it makes you similar to the shovel and some other of the items. It will allow it so that you don't have to gain stamina points or eat any food in order to do your terraforming and stuff that you want to do. So pretty cool there. Alright, this is new content. Let's talk about the welcoming state of your town. Here in this game, it's pretty self-explanatory that the way that you progress the town is through your evaluation. You get 3 stars in order to get KK Slider there, and then you try to work your island up to a 5-star island to make it perfect, essentially. Well, in this game, it kind of works in a very similar way. When you first enter your town, it's all run down, it's broken down buildings, weeds, garbage, all this stuff. That's what's called the worst state, and that's how you're entering in the town. And you obviously kind of like it is in New Horizons, you have to work for this town to become more beautiful and to be more welcoming. But there is a lot more benefits than just having KK Slider come to your town by making it more beautiful. There are some things that will mend over time, like the fountain. And it's really not about removing items to your town and making it clear, but it's about adding natural foliage and adding more items around your town as well. So overall beautification of your town will be increased by adding flowers and trees, crafted and regular items, infrastructure items, clearing garbage and natural resources that are around the town, similar to like how it was in Animal Crossing New Horizons or even Stardew Valley, for example. Villager houses being mended, so you'll have to mend some villager houses. You got to do some work to kind of work on their houses, help them, you know, get back on their feet again. Let me try to get this balloon here. There we go. And then another thing is pathing and patterns added. So you'll actually get extra points for adding, you know, pathing to your town, making it look more nice and presentable, and then upgrading your shops as well. So if you're upgrading your shops, it'll get you some extra points if you're, you know, farthering along your town. Wow, that's a wonderful ivy drip item there. I really don't need that. So another great thing about investing in your town is the villager count will go up. So right now, villagers, let's see, what do we have for villagers? Let's pull up I never access the map here. So right now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 villagers max. And I'm sure they're going to be adding some more that will wander around your town with the hotel update in 3.0. However, I would absolutely love there to be more villagers that you can add to your town. So at the worst state, when you first start the game, you can have up to 8. Worn down, which is a step up from that, is actually 10. So we're already at the New Horizons cap here. Then you can level up to the wilderness state, which is 12 villagers, natural state, which is 14 villagers, a haven, which is up to 16 villagers, a beautiful town, which is almost perfect, but not quite perfect, which is allowing you up to 18 villagers. And then finally, at the most welcoming state, you can have up to 20 villagers, and the Jacob's ladder, or like that specific flower that you get when your town is looking perfect, will appear in your town. So you can get up to 20 villagers in this game, which is pretty exciting. Not something that's been available before, but it's nice to have a lot of neighbors around and more dreams to fulfill. So this kind of plays into, once your town has gone through some upgrades, there will be a special event that we have mentioned before. We've kind of teased it a little bit, but I wanted to kind of suss this one out a little bit more in this video, and that's the mayoral race. This is a special event that happens with specific things that are triggered in the game. Here's the conditions that will trigger this event, and then I'll explain exactly what it is. So if you get your town to the beautiful town state, which is not perfect, but right before perfect, you'll have up to 18 villagers in your town. You'll also, with mending your town and stuff like that, you'll have to have the mayor's statue fountain upgrade. So as you are progressing in the game, the statue in the center of the kind of the plaza, the town square, if you will have to upgrade that as time goes on. And as you upgrade it, you will be able to get this specific state of the statue, which is the mayor's statue. So you have to have that unlocked. You have to have at least one villager fulfill their dream. So that's a big element of this game, is fulfilling your villagers' dreams. Craft at least 100 items. That one's going to be easy, but you know, that is also a condition as well. And at least have visited the shelter and the mail room, which is locations within your town hall, which are only accessible during severe weather events. You have to at least visit them one time each. So visit the shelter once and the mailroom at least once. So once again, these are very specific conditions that will trigger this event, but the mayoral race is triggered and new features can be unlocked when you win this race. Not only from in general in the game, but you will also, if you win this election race, you will be able to access some very important tools that will help you make your town even more amazing. These things will just be locked to you from the beginning. So for example, terraforming. You will not be able to use terraforming in your town until you become the mayor. So if you want to play the game and you don't want to play it with the God mode, well then you will not be able to terraform your town. And you have the choice to do that if you choose to do that. So that's one thing, one positive thing. So what's going to happen is Tortimer is going to announce there is a mayoral race for a re-election. Maybe he's gonna run, maybe someone else is gonna run. It's time for some new leadership in town. So what's gonna happen is, as he announces the race, your neighbors are gonna encourage you to sign up. Hey, why don't you sign up? Maybe we could vote for you. So there's going to be a sign up sheet. This is where you're going to be able to sign up for multiple events in town, including holidays, but this is also including this specific event. So if you don't want to run, don't sign up. You don't have to run for this. Somebody else will take your place, including like Isabel or Tortimer, or maybe even another villager or something, I don't know. So anyway, if you sign up your name, you can choose to register, and now you're gonna start campaigning. And what campaign looks like is writing and delivering letters to all your neighbors, creating maybe a special graphic or a flag that you can post around town. And you could even talk about, with your neighbors, visualizing different changes that you would make with the terraforming unlocked for yourself. So really, the truth is, Mayor Tortimer will not win this race. He is going to be retiring when this event is triggered regardless. And so it's going to either be you or it's going to be Isabel. Now, if it's Isabel, you can still have access to a lot of the features, like changing your town name and town flag and all that stuff. However, if you want to have full access to that and a special office all to yourself in the town hall, then you're going to want to run for this position. A lot of the features are featured on the document, so if you want a little bit more details on what that could look like, some details, well then make sure to check out the document for yourself. All right, this is one topic that I really wanted to cover. Unfortunately, I was not able to cover it with the person on YouTube. There is a really great video from a YouTuber, and it's no joke, the YouTuber that I wanted to do a collaboration with, but I'm going to put that card up now. I really do encourage you, check out her video on that topic. I find it really interesting, and she's just really passionate about getting these characters back into Animal Crossing, and I feel the exact same way. We need to get the Pelicans back into town. So it really is a shame that this is an irrelevant feature. It feels like villagers do send you mail every once in a while, but it just seems like an afterthought rather than something that's important. And I'd like to use a game that's important like Animal Crossing and culturally relevant, as it was in the pandemic especially, to make writing letters in real life or even just in games cool again. I'd really like that to be a feature. And so this is how we're going to make postal service like mail and all that stuff relevant once again. So this is how we're going to do it. So letters in the past were graded, and I'm going to bring that back by grammar, key phrases, words, proper punctuation, stuff like that. And we're going to be bringing in something called stamps in this game. Now, stamps are something very specific that are a cool new collectible feature. Postage specifically, you'll never have to pay for sending a letter or a gift to somebody. However, you will have to pay for the stationery and the stamp. So there will be a cost involved for sending letters, but if you're already collecting stamps, you got a plethora of them to give out. Now, stationery, this will actually be a stand, as it's similar to how it was in New Horizons, but you know, postal service just shouldn't be relegated to a stand itself. And so there's going to be tons of stationary options like there has been in the past. Each day it's going to be kind of rotating out. Once in your inventory, you can write a letter at any point, attach a gift, deliver it to the post office, and Pete will deliver it for you. He's the mail carrier guy if you don't know him, if you're only a Horizons player. Now, stamp collecting. This is a specific feature that I like to add, and this is an actual hobby in real life. Philately is how it's said, and collecting stamps helps the collectors be instructed in things like geography, biography, history, culture, and art. So I think this is a perfect thing, since collecting is a big thing in Animal Crossing already, with many different things that you do collect. And there's a lot of historical and cultural things already in Animal Crossing that we could use, and especially a lot of special NPC characters that we can make stamps out of. So, stamps are like miniature getaways to the world. Stamps are a little achievement or a sticker as an element to the experience. Similar to how in like Mario Kart World, you get this little sticker. It's not super important, but it does add something to your experience if you're an ultimate collector. Now, you'll get a stamp book. This will be something that will be a physical book that you can have in your inventory. It's also something that you can have in your Nook phone as well, but if you choose to not go to the big city and stuff like that, you don't get a Nook phone, you're welcome to collect stamps on the side as well with a stamp collecting book, which can be, like I said, transferred to a virtual one as well. This is how you get stamps. You can buy them. You can buy individual stamps that will change every day, similar to the stationery at the post office. Up to 6 stamps are available to purchase every day, and there are a lot of them. And just like Pokemon cards, there are different rarities that will affect the price of how expensive they are. And maybe there's even a way to get a random stamp. You don't know which one you're going to get. A little teaser. You can also earn them. You can earn a stamp every time you receive a letter from anybody. So whether it's a friend or a villager in your town, you can receive the stamp and you will get to keep that stamp for your book. So it gives you more incentive to send more letters because you'll receive more letters and get more stamps if you're into that. Getting letter responses from your villagers will warrant random stamps. So you don't know which one they're going to give you. Maybe they're going to give you one that you were waiting on. The better your friendship is, the more likely that they'll send you a rarer stamp. So another motivation to level up your friendships. Here's some of the stamp types for you. Tier 1, this is your kind of like gray, like common tier. Fish, bugs, flowers, and nature. Tier 2 is your uncommon. These would be the deep sea creatures, dangerous bugs, giant fish, and completed fossils. So the full, dinosaur or whatever the fossil would be. Tier 3 is the rare ones. These are landmarks from Animal Crossing, including ones in the city in this game, stores and holidays and seasonal themed stamps as well. And then finally, Tier 4, these are the ultra rares. These are the ones of the NPCs and special characters. So these are ones of like a Mayor Tortimer stamp or an Isabelle stamp or a Blather stamp, something like that. As you can see on the screen right now, I've included a cute little example of the stamps with Blathers and his sister Celeste. It's a beautiful little example there of what stamps could look like from a Tumblr post there. Packages, they're going to act a little differently. It's very simple. You can attach a package to a letter and send it out. However, similar to how packages have been handled nowadays with like Amazon and stuff like that in real life, if you want your package to be delivered quicker than it normally would, you can have a package sent within 24 hours just by paying for it. So unless the mail services are closed, like it's a specific holiday or severe weather, you can have a package mailed anytime and get it within a certain time frame as well. If you really want to have something delivered quickly, just give it to your villager themselves, or if a villager wants that, they can give it to you and then have it delivered as well. So there are options. Now, letters will also be how a villager whom you help fulfill their dream will send you their special gifts. So it's relevant for this as well. So letters are just going to be very important for this game. All right, moving on from postal relevance to the 45-degree angles that we are adding. And not only that, but we will be able to turn our cameras 360 degrees in this game. It's not something that I mentioned here, but it's cool. So basically, just to give you a rundown of why I'd like to bring this back, in the original Animal Crossing game, some of the buildings were actually tilted to the side, which is a 45 isometric view of the buildings, and you can still enter them freely, and they looked really cool. So I like to bring that back, where you can not only rotate buildings, but some of the buildings come rotated by default, and you can enter into them. Not only buildings, but furniture as well. You can finally rotate certain items 45 degrees. I don't want to, have it so you can freely rotate 360 degrees. I think it would be good just having items be rotated 45 degrees. It gives you more variety than we've ever had before in Animal Crossing alone. Now, not only that, but let me quickly show you something in my town real quick that I've been working on. I think that this is relevant for the example. All right, so what you're looking at now here on the left is some of my patterns. And as you can see, I have some patterns that I've had to make multiple of. Kind of stinks. I wish I didn't have to make so many of these roads and stuff like that. These are basically just the same pattern, but I had to remake them over and over again to get a different angle. Well, what if you just took the pattern and just rotated it 45 degrees or like 90 degrees, and you could simply have the same pattern, but now it's rotated. So that's what I would like to add to this game, is be able to rotate patterns and allow you to freely do that by simply clicking a button, and over here on the little display here, say rotate pattern 90 degrees. It rotates in your inventory or as your default setting, and you just place it down on the ground. And now see this wood pattern on the ground right here on screen? Instead of making a whole new wood pattern, I could just turn it, or I can even make, like, say, a picnic blanket, for example, I can now make a picnic blanket on the ground without having to have like 10 patterns in order to make a 45-degree turned picnic blanket on the ground. So seems pretty great to me to add to the game. I think it would be really great to be able to turn not only furniture but patterns 45 degrees. These will be considered special patterns, specific ones that can be turned 45 degrees. It's just going to be really great to free up more storage within your patterns. Don't add more pattern storage, just make sure that you can change the angle of them so that it's gonna, free up some of that space. Other changes I'd like to make to furniture, in addition to 45 degrees, I'd like you to be able to pull chairs into tables and place shoes like under a table, or items under a bed or under a table or on top of a bed, like a stuffed animal, for example. I'd also like you to be able to add little details on top of like tabletops or dresser tops. So maybe like have really small items that make, your tabletops look cluttered. So maybe for the grid system, instead of having like single spots, you can have like half spots where you can push something a little closer together. Something like that would be really cool. Now, is being able to edit on a grid outside and be able to pick up items freely. This was something that they kind of added with the Happy Home Paradise, where you could freely start to edit, people's houses outdoors, where you had a grid system and you can move things around freely, quickly. I'd like to be able to allow that for your town as well. However, this will be something that you will unlock way down the line, similar to how you will not be able to unlock terraforming until you become the mayor of your town. And the reason I'm doing this is because we shouldn't be able to freely just edit and have God mode all the time. We need to be able to have a certain amount of unpredictability, a certain amount of things that we just can't change until way later in the game. I feel like having some of that stuff that are just out of your control is a really good way to experience Animal Crossing. There were certain unmovable things, certain things in the past games that made that game have a certain charm. There's actually a video that I just watched about that specific topic as well, and I would highly recommend. I'm going to put the card here as well if you want to check out that video on that topic as well, of the nature of how New Horizons really changed everything of what Animal Crossing was at its core. I think it's really relevant to talk about that as well. Now, this is something that I mentioned I would talk about in this next part from the last video, and that's the drawer mechanic. Now, I like to relate this to a shulker box in Minecraft. That's probably the best and most simple way that I can explain it. Obviously, we're taking elements from Minecraft, but this isn't directly related to Minecraft. I think this is something that a lot of us have talked about in the past. Why can't we have storage that we, take down and like bring with us, like a pack or something like that? Well, this is how I would like to introduce the drawer mechanic. Like I said, similar to a shulker box in Minecraft, this item acts like a drawer. This includes refrigerators too. You can store items in refrigerators. You can have up to 12 items placed in this specific drawer that you want to, start adding stuff to. And you can have drawers within drawers as well, but nothing more than that. So if I have a drawer within a drawer, I can't put more drawers in that drawer because that would create infinite storage and that would be confusing. So just kind of, without me over explaining it, just look into how shulker boxes work in Minecraft and just take this over into how I'd like drawer mechanic to work in this new game, Animal Crossing Small Town Big City. No need to have a bunch of external storage or use bells to expand your home storage anymore. Everything you need can be accessed from one drawer. You can put all of your flowers in one drawer. You can put all your items that you want to use for a building project all in one drawer and just carry those with you and then tap into the drawer whenever you want. Now, in order to access the drawer, you do have to place this down in your town. So if I want to open a drawer, I can't just access it from my inventory. I do have to place the item down, but that's a small inconvenience to pay for how amazing that could be. Seems a little bit overpowered, maybe, but if they do it in the right way, I think it could be really helpful and not harmful to the game. Another thing that could be really awesome is to expand your inventory space by allowing your decorative bags to have more of a practical use, not just fashion. They will actually expand your pocket space by a margin when equipped. I think I made an example for this somewhere.
New decorative bags like purses, satchels, and backpacks can expand your pocket space by a margin when equipped. Cheaper bags expand it only a little bit, but as the price goes up, the amount of spaces it adds grows larger. If you have enough to buy a Labelle branded bag in the big city, it can expand your inventory by up to 2 times its original size.
Basically, when you unequip the bag, the items that you have stored in that space will stay there until you re-equip a bag and stuff like that later on. But here you can see the chart. A nice cheap bag that you could buy at the Able Sisters in your town will, it won't cost you too much, but it will add 3 spaces to your inventory. You know, you can expand your inventory as usual, but this is a way to just get a few extra spots, especially if you're working on a project. Normal bags, just a kind of run-of-the-mill bag, nothing special, but not necessarily a cheapy bag, would be 6 spaces. Deluxe bags, now these are ones that you could buy at the big city. These are going to be 9 spaces, and if you want like a really high-end designer Labelle bag that's going to give you 12 additional spaces, those are going to be a pretty penny. This is bringing back a similar feature how like you would get that special exclusive furniture and clothing from Gracie Grace and City Folk, how it was pretty expensive, but it was kind of a novelty and a reason to go to the city. So having these specific bags that actually can have a practical use to your everyday life would be great to have. Now we're actually getting to the end of the video, believe it or not. Of course, this is not the end of the document. There's plenty more of information, but specifically for this video, a setting that I'd like to bring back is the ability to change the talking of your villagers. So back in, I think the best example is Wild World and City Folk. I don't know if this was available on New Leaf. I think it was, but this was not available on New Horizons, to my knowledge. But you could change how the villagers talk. Instead of hearing them talk in their animal voice, which is amazing, and it's an Animal Crossing exclusive, something that's important to the game, you could actually change it to the BBs, which was a specific, like, almost like a Morse code kind of talking instead. It was a lot less annoying especially if you're annoyed by the animal voices. And you also have the option to turn the chat box completely off with no talking at all. So I'd like to retain some of those settings and bring, you know, the typical animalese, that's going to be your default, but then bring back the BBBs and a setting to just keep them completely silent. That'd be really great. Like I said, maybe this was available in New Horizons. As far as I know, I did not see it. I probably would have changed it if that were the case. But guys, this is the end of the video essentially. I'm sure I'm going to ramble on for another 10 minutes, but essentially, hey guys, this has been really great being able to go through this document with you. I hope that you're hyped for these ideas. I'm sure many of these ideas or maybe have been things that you've thought of that maybe you haven't heard somebody else said and you're like, I thought it was crazy. But yeah, like these ideas make sense and I would love to see that in the game, or things maybe you've never thought of before. It's like, you know, that really would fix that issue. I would love to hear more about your thoughts about these things in the comments if you made it this far. Make sure you write the word New Year, 2 words I guess. Write New Year in the comments if you made it this far, to just let me know that you got here, that you liked the video, and that you're in support of this video as well. Regardless, this year is going to look a little bit on the lighter side. I'm not going to do as many videos. I am going to be stepping away from this. Me and my wife are probably going to doing some videos of our own, so we're going to just take the focus off of all this. And hasn't been really been getting the most interest, so I feel like I just want to pursue this just as a hobby and just something that I'm doing really on the side. Just make sure that it stays that way for this coming year. Just want to wish you guys a happy new year. We still got some time here in the Animal Crossing town. I hope that you are able to visit your town tonight, celebrate with your villagers, and that you were able to enjoy that to the fullest if that's your thing. So once again, my name is Super Koopa with the MFC. This has been the Nintendidn't, So We Did podcast. My final episode on the Small Town Big City. If we're going to be doing more episodes of this, it's all going to be about the big city. But I'd like to make more different videos to kind of spread myself out a little bit and see what else might work, what you might find more interesting. So you guys have a great holiday season and a great start to your new year. And I'll see you in the next update. Take care. This has been the Nintendidn't, So We Did podcast. If you're interested in learning more about Animal Crossing Small Town Big City, check out this podcast here on YouTube, on Spotify, or on Apple Podcasts for more.